Hello learners, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is your boss man Sagar.Utekar and consider this as a Diwali gift for you. As many of you were asking for a cloud project, I have come up with the idea that we are going to build a portfolio website which will help you to understand AWS services. I can share this portfolio website to the recruiters and to my relatives as well. So trying to solve multiple problems using one solution. You are going to enjoy this video a lot. I have decided that I'll go with three different approaches to deploy this project. First is using Docker, second is using manual approach on AWS console, and the third is automated fashion using Terraform and GitHub Actions. So this video is for the first two options, and based on the response on this video, I'm going to create a next video where we are going to discuss the Terraform and GitHub actions to deploy this project using automated way. Let's get started. The final project is going to look like this. The Cloud Resume project for the Bossman. As you know, I am more of a gym freak. I have given a touch of um, gym and fitness to my portfolio website. Additionally, there is a Gorilla mode and normal mode for this Cloud Resume project. This project is inspired by the Cloud Resume Challenge website, and based on this, we have created this project. So, thank you very much to them. Let's get started. All the instructions to build this project are available on my GitHub repository, the Cloud Resume Challenge. And check that out. The architecture is this, very simple and clear. Let me tell you a very interesting part. This architecture diagram I have not created or designed. I used AI tool to generate this diagram. I'll tell you how to create such beautiful architecture diagram within few minutes. Okay. Before that, let's discuss the architecture. We are going to use the Route 53 service, AWS Certificate Manager, CloudFront, S3 Bucket, API Gateway, Lambda functions, DynamoDB, and IAM. Okay. Now, let's come to the prerequisite to build this project. Couple of tools you are going to need. First is your AWS account. AWS free tier account is more than enough to complete this project. Make sure if you don't have any free tier account, click on this link, create AWS account, and it will take you to this link to create your free tier account. Follow the instructions, create your account, and you are all set. Once that is done, you need to set up your AWS CLI on your local machine. You can follow these instructions to install AWS CLI or other instructions based on whatever operating system you are using, and make sure you have AWS CLI set up on your machine. Once that is done, you need to configure your credentials using AWS configure command. It is going to ask you AWS access key, secret key, region, and default output format. How to get that? Very simple. Go to your IAM service in AWS Management Console, click on the users, go to security credentials and click on create access key. When or whenever you are going to create a new access key, it will give you access key and secret key, which you can use configure your credentials on your CLI. Very simple. The next is we are going to use Amazon Q Developer for this project. Amazon Q Developer is a AI-powered coding assistant by AWS for developers. Very interesting tool, and I've been using it for quite some time. It provides intelligent code suggestions, AWS best practices, and also help to debug the code issues. It's very easy to set up Amazon Q Developer on your ID or CLI as well. Okay. I'll drop these all the links in the video description. You can check that out. You can use Amazon Q Developer with your favorite IDE or command line. Instructions are here. Just click on, for example, I'm using Visual Studio Code. I can click on this. It will take me to this instruction. For VS Code, it's very easy. Just click on install and it will ask you open Visual Studio Code and it will install Amazon Q Developer for your IDE. Similarly, based on whatever the IDE you are using, you can set it up. The next very important thing is I would suggest install Amazon Q Developer on your command line as well. So to install it on command line, follow this guide and set it up. The first time when you set up Amazon Q Developer, it will ask you to authenticate uh, your AWS account. Don't worry, Amazon Q Developer you can use for the authentication. You can use Amazon Q Developer Builder ID. Okay, your free tier account is also enough. And all the instructions are here. Okay, install Amazon Q, sign up for your personal builder ID, and you are good to use. Now let me show you how does it look in VS Code. Additionally, you can install this extension, Amazon Q extension, that it will allow you to access Amazon Q from your CLI, ID, and open the chart panel. And from your ID itself, you can start talking to Amazon Q Developer. It is same like a ChatGPT, but more of built to solve the issues of the AWS related and help the AWS developers, we can say. Okay. Yeah. AWS developers by mean the people or the engineers who are using AWS, not the actual AWS engineers. Okay. And you're good to use. So you can use this Amazon Q from your ID. But if you wish to use it from your CLI, that is also possible. Just type Q once you install Q, and it is asking me to log in. You need to first authenticate. See here, I am using my builder ID, free tier builder ID to authenticate my Amazon Q. Once authentication is done, it's going to give you a green check, start using it from your CLI. Perfect. Yes, now you can start using it. Just type Q, it will open this prompt. For now, just ignore these errors. We will talk about this later. And you can start asking very simple question. Um, can you design? Can you give me notes for AWS EC2 in simple words? Okay, that's interesting. Fine. Some issue with my Amazon Q CLI, but from ID at least we should be able to ask the same question. Can you give me the notes for AWS EC2? Simple words. It is working. And see, it is amazing. It gave me all the notes for Amazon EC2 in the ID itself. Everything I should know. You can use these to prepare for the interviews as well. And that's amazing. The next thing which I am going to use MCP. MCP. So what are MCP? MCP are model context protocols. It's an open protocol for connecting your AI assistant like our Amazon Q to external tools and data. For example, I wanted to design this architecture diagram, right? So I told you I used some tools to design this architecture diagram. What I used is Amazon, uh, A, AWS diagram MCP server. I used AWS diagram MCP servers. So now using MCP, I can let my Amazon queue to use that AWS MCP diagram server to design architecture diagram. And how to do that? It's very simple. If you want to know more about MCP, there's very good website. You can check that out, Model Context Protocol, how it works. Okay, it's very simple just to let you know what is MCP. So MCP is a open source standard for connecting your AI applications to external system. Using MCP, your AI applications like Cloud, ChatGPT, and in our case, Amazon Q can connect to a data sources like local files databases and can also use tools such as search engines, calculators, and workflows such as specialized prompts. Think of MCP like a USB port for AI application, just as USB-C provides a standardized way to connect electronics devices. MCP provides a standardized way to connect AI applications to external system. Very simple. We are using Amazon Q, but if you ask Amazon Q without MCP server, diagram MCP server, so it won't be able to design such beautiful architecture diagram for us. So there is MCP server designed by Amazon itself, AWS itself, which we can use from Amazon Q to design those architecture diagram. Okay. Let's not make it more complicated. Let's directly jump to MCP servers. So Amazon, um, why do I keep saying Amazon? AWS MCP servers, they have the very huge list of different MCP servers available. And check this out. Getting started. Yeah, so here is the entire list of MCP servers provided by AWS itself, out of which we are interested into diagram, diagram MCP servers to design our diagram. Where is it? Yes, here. So these MCP servers seamlessly creates diagram using Python diagrams package DSL, for which we are going to need UV to be installed. Python is required and GraphViz is required. How to use it? Use it from your VS Code. Just click on this button. It will open the Visual Studio Code and it is going to install that MCP server. The other way is you can configure this MCP server in your MCP client configuration. For Amazon Q Developer, this is a path. So you just open this path and you need to update this file. You can see here, I have configured a couple of MCP servers to use with my Amazon Q. And that is why we got this error. Yet, जो error आया था, this error was because of that. Or you can also use MCP server as a Docker container as well. So for that, this is the instruction. Okay. Let me ask my Amazon queue from ID. Going forward, we'll use Amazon queue from ID, but because something is wrong with my CLI Amazon queue that I'll fix later. But for now, at least we can use Amazon queue developer from VS Code ID. If you ask here that generate architecture diagram for my project, it is going to inquire couple of MCP servers. See what it's saying, I'll generate an architecture diagram for you, your Cloud Resume Challenge project based on the README content. And let me first get the available AWS icons and then create a diagram. So it is going to use this tool, these icons. You need to provide the permission. Without your permission, it is not going to do anything. Okay. Now let me create architecture diagram for your cloud resume challenge project. Okay. Then it is going to use this another tool, generate diagram, and these are the parameters it has passed, and the result is this. It is summarizing what it did. Okay. Perfect. I have generated an architecture diagram for your cloud resume challenge project. The diagram shows the complete AWS architecture flow, front end layer, backend, security, CI/CD, and data flow. And this is the new diagram it has created in the generated diagram project. Is it? Yeah, here, cloud resume. Okay. Isn't that amazing? Within few seconds or a minute maximum, it created architecture diagram for us. You can keep on giving another prompt to improve that architecture diagram, and it will do that work for you. As I told you, couple of things you need to follow. You need to install that MCP server in your VS Code, or in set it up, configure it in your Amazon Q configuration file like this. Okay, and start using it. Let's move on. What we will do is that first try our local setup, set up our local development environment, test our website locally working or not. So clone this repository and then run this instruction. You can even ask your Amazon Q developer, give me instructions to run this project locally using Docker. Let me close this. Okay. So based on it has answered us. Based on your project structure, here are minimal instructions to run the Cloud Resume Challenge. Prerequisite, your Docker and Docker Compose needs to be installed. So just verify this. Okay, Docker is there. Then local setup steps. First, um, cd into this directory. So we are already into this directory, so no need to follow that instruction. Next is we can simply use Docker Compose to start our services. Docker Compose up -d, it is going to start our services. What is saying? The container name resume site is already in use. Just copy paste this error and give this your Amazon AWS Q developer. I am getting this error. I know the solution, but I'm just telling you that how powerful this coding assistant is. What you can do, you need to use the Docker Compose down. Okay, it has remote network and everything, and then is asking us to remove the existing container. Perfect. Now let's run the Docker Compose up -d command to start our stack. Going back to our original thing, what it's saying, your website is running on port 8080. We can put open this port, and our site is up on port 8080, localhost 8080, right? So the first part is this local setup. You can follow the Docker commands. You can build the container using simple Docker build and run, or you can use the Docker Compose way as well. Now, next is our part 2, manual cloud setup. And this is going to teach you a lot of things about AWS. This section walks through creating everything manually via AWS console to understand each component. Each step is done through point and click interface to learn how AWS services works together. I'm going to tell you a couple of things before that. Okay. First thing first, you need to create AWS S3 bucket. Go to AWS Management Console, search for the S3, and this is the bucket I have. Okay, this is the bucket I have. You can also create another bucket. Just to show you the demo, I'm not going to use multiple buckets, but this is going to how it is going to look like. Cloud Resume Challenge, Real Boss 2. Block all public accesses. You can enable bucket versioning, that is okay. Give tag if you want, but keep everything default and just create this bucket. This instruction is somewhere here. Yeah, create S3 bucket. Go to S3 console, create bucket, give the name of the bucket, choose the region, um, then block all public access, create bucket, go to properties, set static website hosting, enable static website hosting, index document, index.html, go to permission and copy paste this bucket policy. Okay, this is our bucket. Once you clone this repository on your local machine, you need to upload the files. Where is my, yeah, this Cloud Resume Challenge website. Upload all these files here. That is it. All all the files to run your static website on the S3 bucket are here. What happened? What I'm going to do is that I'm going to move all these files one directory up and get rid of that website folder. Move it. Okay, it is successfully moving our objects to our main bucket Cloud Resume Challenge pass to. Close this. Now we have all the files and the directories at the top layer. Next, it is asking us to enable the static website hosting option. Enable it. We'll ask you to provide the index document. Just keep index.html. This is a main page we have. Permissions. Edit this bucket policy and provide the access for your bucket. Okay, this is our bucket. What we are saying is that um, give the access to get the object from this bucket. Very simple. Now, since, okay, your bucket policy changes can't be saved because I don't have permission to edit the bucket policy. I need to uncheck this first. This is just a temporary. I'm going to improve the security later. Then copy this, go to your bucket policy, change the bucket name here, save the changes now. Done. Since you have enabled the static website hosting, it will give you the bucket website URL, and from here also you should be able to load your website. Perfect. This is how you can host your static website on the AWS S3 bucket. So this was one part. Now let's go back and follow our step-by-step instruction. The next thing is, okay, let me delete this bucket. We will use the Cloud Resume Challenge Real Boss. It is giving us a error. This bucket is not empty. Either you can take a help of Amazon Queue, but it's very simple that it is asking us to empty the bucket before deleting it. Just complete these steps to empty the bucket, and now you can delete it. Okay. Now we are middle of this video. Let me tell you, don't take help of Amazon Queue for every error, because in the interview you won't have access to Amazon Queue. But as a developer, while working on some project, it's okay. But to prepare for the interviews, at least you should rely on your knowledge of how to debug the issues. Okay. Most of the times you will see how do I fix the error is by looking at the error, by reading that error message. And sometimes if I don't know, then I can go to Amazon Q developer asking that this is the error I'm facing, help me. But first instinct is that you read the error and at least give it a try. Okay. What next? First, we are going to create a DynamoDB table. Go to your DynamoDB table and yes, here. Once you open the DynamoDB service, you can create a DynamoDB table here. Just to show you the demo, I'm going to create another table, Cloud Resume table 2. Set the partition key. What partition key is asking us to set? ID. The type is string, and then use on demand billing. Add initial item ID is equal to 0 and views is equal to 0. Okay. ID and then initial items nahi hai. So just click on create table. It is going to create table for you. So table items, then you can, okay, it is still creating the table. So it will take some time to get that table ready. Okay, now the table is ready. You can click on the table and then start creating item. Initial item ID is equal to 0 and one more item attribute of type number, which is views. Set it to 0. Create this item. That is all you need to do. So step 1. Okay. Okay. Since I have very limited credit, I am going to delete this and use the existing um, table which we have. Delete this. This is just to show the new learners that the steps are very simple to follow. What next? Then next thing is you need to create Lambda function. Go to Lambda console, create a function of this name. Use the runtime as Python latest version. Upload your Lambda code. Handler is going to be this and timeout 30 seconds. Copy paste this. I already have it, but let me create a new Lambda function to show how to create it. Click on this, give a name, um, some unique name, Resume Lambda 2. Choose the runtime as Python latest version 3.13. Everything default and just click on create function. Very simple. Okay. Once you create your Lambda, it is going to look like something. This is the default code which you have, but you need to copy the code from your repository. Here is our code. Copy this code and paste it here. Okay. This is a code for. So here what we are doing, we are using Boto3 library to interact with AWS DynamoDB service. And remember, we created this table, Cloud Resume table. So we are triggering Lambda function to query DynamoDB table and get the number of views from the DynamoDB. That is what we are doing here. Let me delete these. I hope it's not confusing. The reason I am deleting this demo functions or the dynamic table because I want to save my AWS credits and not keep on running it. We'll use the existing one. It's similar like what we have done. AWS, we created this Lambda function, Cloud Resume Lambda, and this is a function which we have. Right. This is a similar code, no difference. Okay, this is the same code. Don't worry. What next it is asking? To configure IAM role for Lambda, you need to allow Lambda to execute this Lambda function and to use or get the item from DynamoDB and to update the item into DynamoDB table. You need to create this role, IAM role, Cloud Resume Lambda role. This is already there. Let me show you. If you go to IAM service, search for this Cloud Resume Lambda role, and these are the permissions for this role. We are giving Amazon DynamoDB full access. Okay, you can use this role, attach these policies to your role, and these role you need to use with your Lambda. So to use that, what you need to do, create this role, trust policy, allow Lambda service to assume this role. Go to trust policy, allow this, and you need to update this trust entities to allow Lambda to assume this role. What next? Attach this policy, AWS Lambda basic execution role, and this policy. So that is what we did. This is a minimal permission, but for now, just for a demo, I have given the DynamoDB full access. The next thing is create API gateway. Okay, go to API gateway console, create HTTP API, and create this API gateway. Integrate, create the route, get type of route slash visitor. Integrate type Lambda function. Give the name of Lambda function. So what we are doing is that letting API gateway to trigger or for sorry, let me show you here itself. Where is my API gateway? Either way. Okay. Let's create a new one, temporary. We are going to create a HTTP API gateway. Give the name. Add integration here. So you can type Lambda and then select AWS region and give the Lambda function which we created. What we are specifying here is that specify the backend service that your API will communicate with. So whenever we are going to type slash visitor, it is going to trigger this Lambda function. And you know what? We already discussed in the Lambda part that Lambda code or the Lambda function is talking to DynamoDB table to get the views which are stored there. Okay, so this is what we are doing. Next, configure the route. Method is get. slash visitor here. Integration type target is Cloud Resume Lambda. Next. Page name default. Next. This is the overall what we are trying to do with the HTTP API gateway. We are integrating this with a Lambda function. Whenever we are going to request enter the GET request for the slash visitor, it is going to trigger the Lambda function. Okay, we already have one API gateway running here. It is very similar. GET slash visitor and then talk to Lambda. Okay, talk to Lambda. The next thing is configure Lambda permissions for API gateway. Now, even API gateway needs to talk to Lambda. So for that, you need to give that permission. Go to Lambda console, click on the functions, Cloud Resume Lambda, click on configure permissions and under resource based policy, click add permission, select the service API gateway and then select your API gateway. Okay, so select your Lambda function, go to configurations, permissions, and here in the resource based policy, you need to select AWS service, select API gateway, and select the API gateway ARN here. Okay, so whatever the ARN you are going to get from your API gateway, use that here. This is my API. This is a ARN. Select action. Okay, no action. Just click on save. API gateway. Invoke function. It is very similar. So what we are doing, we let API gateway to invoke this function. Okay, this is duplicate again. This is a new one which we created. Let me delete this. Next part is almost done. Create S3 bucket and then we enable the static website hosting. Okay, seven steps. Set up CloudFront. So go to CloudFront console, create distribution, select your S3 bucket, origin access control settings, keep everything default and use all edge locations. Default root object is index.html. If you are confused like why we are using CloudFront and this API gateway, it's the simple instructions I have given already here. You can check that out. S3 bucket we are using for the static website hosting. CloudFront we are using as a global CDN with HTTPS enforcement. API gateway we are using for the HTTP TPV API for visitors counter endpoint. Lambda is for the serverless functions for the counter logic. DynamoDB is a NoSQL database we are using for keeping a count of view count. Certificate manager we are going to use for the adding the SSL TLS certificates. Then Route 53 for the DNS management. I am for the security rules and policies. Now going to where were we? Step number 7. Step number 7, set up CloudFront. Here. To create this distribution, Cloud Resume challenge. Okay, when you click on distribution, it is going to ask couple of things like a distribution name, then go with a single website or app. Origin type Amazon S3 because our static website is in Amazon S3. Select the origin. You can browse the S3 bucket. So this is our bucket. Choose this origin path. Okay. Origin domain is S3 bucket. Origin access. Origin path we don't need to give. The root object we need to give index.html. Next is do not enable security protections for now. Enough. And then create distribution. That is all. Let me check the older one. Okay. I'll create distribution, and it will take some time. Default root object is here. Index.html. You can also choose a certificate. So this is a certificate. Either you can request, if you don't have any certificate, just click on request certificate. It will take you to the Amazon ACM service, AWS ACM service, AWS certificate manager, and then you can request for public certificate. I already have one, so we'll use the existing one. Let me delete the new distribution because we are not going to use it anyhow. Okay. So for our existing distribution, we already have the certificate applied. So you need to create the certificate from, as I told you, AWS certificate manager, and then use that certificate here. Custom SSL certificate. Fine. What is next? Redistribution update S3 bucket policy to allow CloudFront access. Yes, this is very important step. So once your CloudFront distribution is created, you need to let CloudFront to talk to your S3 bucket. So update that as well. And that thing I have put here. So you need to go to S3 bucket permissions, okay, and use this bucket policy. This is a policy. I think with the newer version or the latest updates of the CloudFront, it is by default add your CloudFront distribution policy to S3 bucket. So the expansion is very simple. We are letting CloudFront to getting the object from the S3 bucket. Okay, this is what we are doing. You don't need to do that step. If just to verify if it is not there, then simply update the S3 bucket policy. Now the next thing is note API gateway URL because we are going to need to update our website index.js to start using our API gateway URL for the visitor count. Where is that? I'll let show you. If you go to index.js file, at the bottom here, there's a URL for the API gateway. Line number 257. This is the API gateway URL of my API gateway. that you will get from the stages. Since we use the default stage, you can use this invoke URL of your API gateway. Make sure you are appending slash visitor. That's a path we created or the route we created. Whenever there is a slash visitor, it needs to trigger the Lambda function. So this is the change you need to um, do into your index.js and update your S3 bucket. Okay, make sure you are updating that. Otherwise, otherwise it will use my changes and you will keep on triggering my API gateway through your code. But since I'm going to delete everything which I have created, it won't work and you will, get stuck. That is why I wanted to clear this step. Next thing is our API gateway URL is ready. We can start using that. Sorry, let me use this URL to access our website. Okay. Visitor count is increasing. Now next is what? Upload this file. Okay. Create a custom domain. Now we have website URL. We are using the CloudFront distribution URL to access our website, right? So far, but we need the domain like something like this. Cloud resume bossman.cloud. So how you can do that? You can purchase a domain from Cloud GoDaddy or some uh, other website. I bought these domains just for the demo. Okay, it was very cheap. My products. This is a domain I bought for maybe 300 or 400 rupees something. It is very cheaper. Once that is done, complete your purchase, and this is very important steps. Configure. Create Route 53 hosted zones. This is a part. This is your Route 53 hosted zone. You need to create it. The next thing is give some domain name. Like I wanted to use bossman.cloud, so I use the bossman.cloud. It will create couple of name servers for you. The next thing is you need to update GoDaddy name servers. So log into your GoDaddy account, go to your My Product DNS and click change next to name servers, select custom name servers. Whatever the name servers you are seeing here, okay, the name servers provided by these four name servers provided by your AWS Route 53, you need to copy them one by one, exclude this dot, and where is ready here? Sorry, my domain. Yeah, this is my domain. Go to DNS, go to DNS, name servers, and update the name servers here and save this. Okay, save the changes. It takes couple of minutes to um, let you use AWS Route 53 name servers from your GoDaddy DNS, and you should be good to go. Next thing is you need to uh, use the SSL certificate. I think this is already done. So go to certificate manager, click the certificate. This is done. And with your Route 53, you need to configure that certificate as well with your Route 53. Okay. So that's correct. To add a new record of type record type A for cloud-resume.bossman.cloud and point it to your CloudFront domain. What you are saying is that this is my website, cloudresume.bossman.cloud. Now it is going to talk to my CloudFront. Okay, this is going to talk to my CloudFront, and um, okay, 1 second. I think this way it will be much easier to explain. What we did is that we created a new domain. As a user, we are going to hit this URL, uh, cloudresume.bossman.cloud, and internally it is going to point to Route 53 um, domain. So Route 53 is going to talk to your CloudFront, and with the CloudFront, we have configured this certificate. CloudFront is talking to your S3 bucket for the static website, and then S3 bucket is configured with API layer. API gateway is um, integrated with Lambda function. Lambda function is getting the view count from your DynamoDB. Okay, so that is how our architecture is. We were here, name servers are updated, certificates are configured, certificate is valid, edit settings. Yes, this is another important thing now. So on your CloudFront distribution, you need to update a alternate domain for your website, new website. Go to CloudFront distribution. Here you will see I have updated alternate domain name for my website, cloudresume.bossman.cloud. Okay, save the changes. Finally, create Route 53 records. This is already done. So what we are doing is that we are creating a new record of type A, which is alias record, route the traffic to CloudFront distribution from our Route 53. And we are all set. We can start using our website. So this is going to look like this. Our website is secured using SSL certificate. It is pointing to Route 53 for the DNS server, and Route 53 is talking to your cloud distribution, CloudFront distributions, okay, as a CDN, so that your website will be cached and fastly accessible. We can ask even Amazon Q, can you explain the flow of AWS service communication? Um, Ready domain, simple words. Let's see what our Amazon Q developer responds. Okay, here is how our website works from GoDaddy domain to AWS services. Our domain is set up on the GoDaddy and pointing it to Route 53 name servers. Your You buy a domain from GoDaddy, point GoDaddy name servers to Route 53 AWS DNS service Route 53. Become the phone book for your domain. Whenever we are going to type our domain name, it is going to talk to Route 53, say go to CloudFront, and then Route 53 is going to talk to CloudFront, says here is your website from S3. So CloudFront is talking to S3 bucket. Then we have this HTTP security using ACM, and in S3 we have all our static website configured. Okay, perfect. So this is the entire flow. Can you also explain the benefit of each AWS service in this project? Okay, so Route 53 translates our domain name to AWS resources. It is for the fast DNS resolution, high availability, health checks, global reach, works worldwide. CloudFront we are using to cache our websites globally. Then S3 bucket we are using to host our static website files. ACM we are using for the SSL certificates. API gateway is to create REST API endpoints slash visitor which we used. Then Lambda we are using to run our code for getting a visitor counter. DynamoDB table we are using to store visitor count. IAM is to control access permissions, and is what our project is built on top of. Make sure you can even ask questions to Amazon Q developer to explain this code if you wish to understand it, but that is not required. So that is what I wanted to cover in this video. I hope you enjoy this video and build this project. Let me know if this is helpful and you learned something new. Based on the response on this video, I'm going to explain the Terraform code and the GitHub actions and maybe something monitoring also we can implement. But that is totally depend on the response on this video. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video till the end. See you soon.